If we switch to layout mode and toggle on statistics, keyboard shortcut select the overlay chevron, then check statistics, we will see that our model has 3004 triangles, that is polys. So we will have to create several copies of our model, each with fewer polys until the last one has less than 500. For each sequential model, the number of polys must be reduced by at least 20%. The rule of thumb is to try and reduce the number of polys by half with each copy of the model, that is 3004, 1502, 751, and 376. That means we need to create 3 copies of our model. In addition to reducing the number of polys, we also have the option of choosing the distance at which each copy will come into view, as we will see shortly. So there is some flexibility in how we reduce the number of polys. In some instances, you may want to reduce the number more gradually at first and have shorter distances between the transitions. The idea is that the transitions are not discernible when the model is viewed, say by an approaching train. Builder has a built-in modifier to reduce the poly count, the decimate modifier. However, it has limits. After trying, I decided that it was best to start by selecting the faces that are most visible to retain. It is also helpful to temporarily separate the bench back into the boards and right and left ends. The original mesh is considered level of detail 0, that is, LOD 0, and subsequent meshes, LOD 1, LOD 2, etc. So we will begin by creating LOD 1. Open bench04.blend if it is not already open. Switch to the Layout workspace and toggle on Statistics. Keyboard shortcut, select the overlay chevron, then check Statistics. In the outline window, select the bench mesh. Switch to right side view, edit mode, and face selection mode, and toggle on wireframe and X-ray modes. Box select the boards and separate. Keyboard shortcut the P key. Then select Selection. Name the new mesh Boards. Select the bench mesh. Box select the left end. Separate and name the new mesh End Left. Rename the bench mesh End Right. Toggle off wireframe and X-ray modes. Hide End Right and End Left meshes. Select the board faces. Hide the faces. Keyboard shortcut the H key. Select the remaining faces. Keyboard shortcut the A key. And delete, reducing the poly count from 172 to about 76. Unhide the faces. Keyboard shortcut Alt plus the H key. Hide the board's mesh and unhide the end right mesh. Switch to front view, and in edit mode and face selection mode, select the inner faces and hide. Select the opposite inner faces and hide. Rotate the mesh and select the outer faces. Keyboard shortcut Shift plus Alt plus left mouse button and hide. Select the remaining faces and delete. Unhide the hidden faces. Repeat the process for the end left mesh. I've reduced the poly count to 1,366, more than enough for LOD 1. Save your work. Save your Blender file as bench.lod1.blend. We will now use bench.lod1.blend to create the third level of LOD, that is, LOD 2. We can't reduce the poly count of the boards any further without the effect being visible, so we'll concentrate on the ends. Hide the board's mesh and the end left mesh. Let's try applying the Dissipate modifier to see if we can reduce the poly count without substantially altering the shape. Select Collapse and set the ratio to 0.600 and apply the modifier. Repeat the process for the end right mesh. In object mode, unhide all the meshes. My poly count has been reduced to 849. Let's remove the ironwork from under the seat and the faces inside the legs. With the end right mesh selected and in edit mode, face selection mode, and front view, select and delete the faces under and above the seat and inside the legs if present. Toggle on wireframe and X-ray modes, and in vertex selection mode, circle select and delete the vertices. Repeat the process for the end left mesh. My poly count is now 483, well below the required 500 threshold. Save your work. Save your Blender file as benchlod2.blend. It isn't necessary, but if you wish, you can recombine the meshes within each of the LODs. Select the board's mesh, the end left mesh, and the end right mesh and join. Keyboard shortcut Control plus the J key. Save a copy of the file. Keyboard shortcut Command plus the S key. Rename bench04.blend benchlod0.blend. An FBX file needs to be created for each of the levels of detail. We have already added the textures to the material.m.pbr metal material, so all we need to do is save the FBX files. Open benchlod0.blend. With the benchlod0 mesh selected, export the FBX file. Keyboard shortcut, select the File menu, then select Export, then select FBX. Select your presets, then select Export FBX. The presets are Limit to equals Selected Objects, Object Type equals Mesh, Apply Scale equals FBX All, Forward equals Y forward, up equals Z up. Check Apply Units and check Use Space Transformation. Save FBX files for LOD 1 and LOD 2. You can use the generic thumbnail file you created for the shipping crate model, or you can create a new one. The thumbnail file is a simple JPEG file, but must be 240 pixels wide and 180 pixels high. We are now ready to assemble the Trainz asset. I am going to make the asset compatible with Trainz 2019 and newer versions. That is, using a Trainz build of 4.6. Open Trainz and the Content Manager window. From the filters in the Content Manager window, select Today. In the Developer menu, select New Content to create a new asset. Select the new asset, right mouse button click, and select Reveal in Finder, or use the keyboard shortcut Command plus the E key. You will see the config.txt file that Trainz has created in the folder. Copy in your texture files into the folder: diffuse.png, parameters.png, and normal.png. Copy in the thumbnail file. Copy each of the FBX files into the folder: benchlod0.fbx, benchlod1.fbx, and benchlod2.fbx. Open the config.txt file. Copy in the minimal information needed to create a Trainz asset. You can experiment with the mesh table LOD transition distances. Ideally, you want to transition down to a lower poly count LOD as soon as possible, without the transition becoming apparent as you zoom out. Save and close the config.txt file and close the asset folder. In the Content Manager, select the asset, which should say it is open for edit, and submit the edits. Right mouse button and select Submit Edits. If all goes well, that is, there are no errors, the status of the asset should change from Open for Edit to Modified. The asset is now ready to import into Trainz.